and like that. And every morning and every evening the whole family sits down and play instruments together, and really, and play melodious and beautiful. I mean, that's nice. That's very nice. And it can be something that if it's really like something one does every day, everyone becomes very attached to that and look forward to that. When can we sit down with my children and with my mom and daddy, and then we sing. Then we sing together. It's so nice. And then one should accept remnants of foodstuff offered to Krishna. In other words, all the food that one eats should be offered to Krishna. One should not eat food that is not offered to Krishna. Simple. Prabhupada doesn't say that you should stop eating to become Krishna conscious. That would be practical. But just whatever food you eat, that should just be offered to Krishna. Of course, that means there are certain things that cannot be offered. Meat, fish, eggs, like that. One should be vegetarian and offer nice vegetarian dishes to Krishna. And one should learn how to prepare it and offer it in a way that is simple. It doesn't take more time. Actually, it might take 5 minutes, 10 minutes more preparing. And of course, one doesn't use pre-prepared foods, or generally, but one uses time to prepare food, offer it to Krishna, and then serve that out to the family members. It's a really nice practice, this of offering one's food. Eating, it doesn't. When cooking become like something boring and a chore that one has to get, one wants just to get done with. Actually, it becomes really, passion for one to start, cooking nicely, offering nicely to Krishna, and then everyone sits down and takes prasadam together. That's also a point in family. Those who are raised in nice families know that actually it's important that family members all sit together and eat at the same time. It's said that the family that eats together will stay together. It's a simple thing. Everyone should be eating together, and you should eat prasad, food that is offered to Krishna. Then there should be some reading and discussion on Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. Have Bhagavad Gita and read something after singing, chanting. Then open Bhagavad Gita and read, and then discuss whatever time is there. A little in the morning, a little in the evening, like that. And then deity worship. There should be an altar at home. Here in the temple we have a very nice altar. And actually at a home also there should be a nice altar. An altar means it's an altar. There should be pictures of Krishna. There should be pictures of, like we recommend, Lalitanatha. Different forms of Krishna should be there. And there should be pictures of the spiritual masters, the parampara, the chain of spiritual masters, pictures of Prabhupada, like that. And it should have a quite prominent place in one's living room. It should sometimes, it's many who follow Vedic culture, most Hindus, they have an altar somewhere, but I see often it's kind of, giving a somewhat neglected space. It's in a cupboard somewhere in the hallway, and it's not. Doesn't have a prominent place. But the real thing actually it should have a prominent place, and then the TV can get the neglected place. Often the TV has a place where actually the altar should be. It should be actually when one comes to one's home, the altar should be very prominent. So actually, it's like a temple. The home should be like a temple. Of course, it's a home, and it's very relaxed, and children are jumping up. They need space to run forth and back like that. But also, it should be a temple. And then one should ideally, once you become initiated and be able to actually perform artik and puja and worship of deities as is done here on the altar. And the whole family should be like not forced to take part of that, but just being attracted to this practice, because it's actually fascinating. And Prabhupada writes in a different place that if the family gets a passion for this practice and worshipping Krishna and like that, then they will lose attraction for going to cinemas and restaurants. Prabhupada is writing that in the 50s and 60s. Nowadays there's so many other attractions. There are, the TVs and internet and social media and like that, which is becoming big like addictions and is not making us Krishna conscious at all. And there's so many allurements and attractions, but if we are attracted to these simple practice, and our children, they also become attracted to that, then actually they can be saved from attractions to all the degradation that is around us in this materialistic society. So what is being offered here is something for everyone. That's maybe we don't always get that message completely clearly across, but it's something that everyone is meant to practice. And of course, Prabhupada there was a great sannyasi, renounced monk. His spiritual master was a sannyasi. But before that, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, who was next in line of our spiritual masters, he was a family man, and he lived as a family man his whole life. He was a big government officer actually, and he had a very responsible job, and he had 14 children. I don't know, how many here has 14 children? How many have 13? So most of us nowadays, we have 2, 3 children, 1 child. But he had 14 children, and he was, but at the same time, he managed to practice very intense spiritual life, by being, of course, he was very expert in managing his life, but he was very, the most responsible person. He was so responsible government officer actually that the British government built a railway so he could get to work every day for him. Because he was really highly positioned. I haven't heard of anyone else that a government builds a railway so he could go to work. Anyone heard about anyone else like that? But that's what they did to Bhaktivinoda Thakur. He was a magistrate of Bengal at that time. But his example shows, and also Prabhupada's example, because Prabhupada was a family most of his life actually. Prabhupada's family, his father, was also a family man. For example, Prabhupada describes how his father, he was a cloth merchant in Calcutta. So he would go to his business in the daytime, but when he came back at night, then he would be with the deities in front of the altar, and he would perform puja and artik. And Prabhupada describes that when they were children, they were lying in bed, and they could hear their father ringing the bell, ding, 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 like that. That was his family life, and Prabhupada had the family life like that. And we can also, in our, whatever situation we are in our materialistic situation we're in, just add these things, chant Hare Krishna, study, read Bhagavad Gita, do some Gita worship, and make sure all your food is offered. And then actually your life will be happy, perfectly happy. Family situation will not be perfect, because that's not possible for anyone. But life will be happy, because it's actually happiness comes from one's spiritual practice. One will be connected with Krishna, and that makes one happy in all situations, in spite of whatever goes on in this world. So I should stop here. Could say a lot more about that. No, there's no time. If you have questions or would like to talk more on this, at 6 o'clock, I will be sitting. Some of us will be sitting down in the office in the cellar, and you can come and talk more if you like. Or you can always come at other times also and talk in the temple. And, if you have questions about how to practice Krishna consciousness, but do it. I mean, it'll make a complete difference in your life by adopting these simple practices. One becomes an advanced yogi, actually. This is what yoga means. Yoga is not going to the mountains and performing yoga asanas. It is how you connect with Krishna, the Supreme. That is yoga. So one becomes, in the middle of a materialistic situation, one becomes actually the greatest yogi by these simple techniques that has been advised here. Okay. Jai. Yes, we're waiting. So, thank you for listening to this. We'll have Artik now and Kirtan. So, Bhagavad Gita ki. Jai! Jai! Prabhupada ki. Jai!